Hey guys, welcome back to Raw Doing Stuff. So today we're doing a brisket out on the pellet grill. We're going to do it low and slow. This is a choice brisket. It's 22 pounds. I picked it up at the grocery store. I usually like the prime brisket, but the choice I'll do. It was the right price and it's what I could find available. So we're going to get this thing trimmed up and then we'll get it seasoned up and I'll show you what we're going to do from there. Alright, so first thing we want to do is get rid of a bunch of this fat here on the top of this. This one's really fatty. So it's going to take a bit of trimming to get it where I want it. This thing's pretty cold. I just took it out of the refrigerator. Took it out of the package, patted it dry with some paper towels. It's easier to trim if it's cold. Cold and a sharp knife is your friend when it comes to trimming this brisket. And we want to come up here. This is what they call the decal, and it's just one big hard chunk of fat. If you get down in here, and you just want to cut that thing off there, because that's going to be no good for eating. You can see it's a big old chunk. Paper sliding around on me. Yeah, that thing there, there's still more in there. You just kind of take it off a layer at a time, that way I don't really go too deep on it. Alright, I'm going to call that good there. About as much as we can take out of there. And if you look on this side, see how this is kind of a brown color. You want to get rid of that. So just take this and cut it. And just kind of square that up. Get rid of that brown meat off the edges of it, just from the oxidation on it. Come down here, we can see this is pretty thin here. There's not much that's going to cook there. So we're going to cut that off. I'm just trying to decide, probably just round that off right there. Just like so. Make it look a little better. Get rid of that thin part that's just going to burn up. And the other thing we want to do over on this side, so you can see that the grain runs this way in this meat. So we're going to put a little slice right here. Then when it's cooked, we'll know which way it's going. Make it so we can trim it against the grain. That's about all we need to do on that side. So we're going to flip this thing over and let's see. turn this around because we want to kind of shape this end up a bit. So what we want to do, want to trim this down to where it's about a 1/4 inch of fat or so on this side. And just shape it, make it look good. Get a little bit down too far there, but it'll be okay. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, if you just even see how I've done that, you just round that up. On the end down there, we're gonna cut this off because it's just kind of hanging off the end. All right, so then we want to trim this down to about 1/4 inch thickness on here. Okay, and this is looking pretty good. I'm liking how it's looking. You could spend hours trimming this thing up. Trim that off, and I like to let that. But yeah, that's the gist of it. I'll probably spend a little more time getting a little bit of this silver skin off the top here, and then I'll be good to go. We'll get some seasoning on this thing, and we'll be ready to go on the smoker. Okay guys, so I trimmed a little bit more of that silver skin off the top here. Now I'm going to get this thing seasoned up. Now I'm going to be cooking this thing fat down because I'm cooking it on the pellet smoker and the heat source is coming from the bottom, and that's how I've always done it, is whichever direction the heat's coming from, then that's the direction that I do it. I put a little bit of mustard on here. Usually I don't use it on brisket, but this one seems pretty dry, so I need something to help this rub stick to this thing. Because a lot of times they have quite a bit of moisture and stuff on them, but this one doesn't. Of course, I blotted off with some paper towels because it had quite a bit of blood and such on it. So I'm going to get this thing rubbed down with some mustard, and I'm going to get it seasoned up for you. Okay, so we've got some mustard on here. Now I'm going to get my rub on here, and I've got this shaker. This is 50-50 kosher salt and black pepper, coarse ground black pepper. We're doing this kind of a Texas style, and we're just going to put a pretty heavy dose of that on there on both sides. I've really gotten to where I like just the salt and pepper on beef. It lets the beef flavor really come out in it. A little bit much there. It's okay. So we're just going to pat this in a bit. You don't want to rub it. Just pat it. And then we're going to flip this over. And do the other side. Haven't put mustard on this side yet. You don't do much, just enough to make it stick. If you need any at all, like I say, Usually don't use any, but on this one I decided to. I'm gonna go wash my hands because I got my hand dirty rubbing that I want to shake it with. So I'll be right back. Okay, got that cleaned up. Guess I shouldn't have used that hand for that, but we got it taken care of. We're just gonna coat this side down with our. And when you have this mix like this, you kind of want to, the salt will try to come to the top a little more. On these edges, I found the best thing to do is just put it in your hand and then kind of put it on there. Okay, I like the way that looks. So what I'm going to do now, because I don't have room in my fridge and it's cold outside, I'm just going to take this out, set it in the smoker, and when I get ready to go, that'll keep it cold for the night. I just smoke them from cold. I don't worry about letting them come up to room temperature or anything. I think it works just as well. But I'm going to leave this rub on it overnight. I kind of like to let it sit. It lets that salt and stuff kind of soak down into the brisket. So I'm going to do that, and we'll just let it sit overnight, and then we'll come back. Probably put this thing on about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning so that it's ready for dinner tomorrow. So we'll see you then. Alright guys, so it's 5:30 in the morning. Just got myself out of bed. I'm going to put this piece of meat on the smoker. So I'll bring you in closer. I'm going to show you how I set this up. Okay, so first over here we've got their heat. We're cooking with some hickory pellets today. Now I've got my heat at 225. I've got my smoke tube in here. Give it a little extra smoke. And then I've got a water pan, because with this big of a piece of meat, probably either need to spritz it or have a water pan in there to help keep it a little bit moist. I don't know, I just always used a water pan with brisket and it seems to turn out well, so I'm going to keep doing it. So the next thing is get this thing on here. So what I'm going to do is I want this towards the heat because it's a bigger piece of meat. We're going to put this flat down here so it doesn't burn easy, and then we're going to insert our probe right into the, well, better move that, right in the center of this flat to kind of keep track of the temperature. We're just going to let this roll at 225 until it gets to an internal of about 160, 175, whenever the bark looks good. Once the bark looks good, then we will come back and wrap it in some butcher paper. So we'll check back with you in a few minutes here when we check it out, a few hours. I'm going to go back to bed and get some more sleep, so we'll see you in a few minutes. Alright guys, so our brisket's reached an internal of about 174. We're going to pull this probe out and we're going to get this thing wrapped up. You can see our bark's looking good on there. Still a lot of moisture coming out of there. But we're going to get it wrapped up. So we're hitting the stall here. We're not going anywhere. Pull this big sucker off here. Gonna move it over here to our paper. Look at that thing. Looking good. I'm gonna get this thing wrapped up. All we're gonna do is take this one this way and this way. I'm going to try to wrap it as tight as you can. I'm going to go this way. Fold these ends up under. Nice little wrapped up brisket here. We'll put it back in the exact same way as what it was. So we're going to put the Put the point down here, the flat down here, and we got the fat cap down still. We're going to put our probe right here in the center of this flat. We're going to let it go probably about 195. We'll start checking it for tenderness and see where we're at. Anywhere between 195 and 203, 205, somewhere in there should be done. So we're just going to let it keep going. Alright guys, so I've been keeping an eye on this brisket, and I think we're pretty close to being done. I'm going to probe it a little bit here. The probe's really easy. That's saying 190, my other thermometer's saying 194, so you can see how easy. That just goes right in on the flat and on the point. So it's done. Sometimes they're done at 194, sometimes they're done at got my beans in here, so it's kind of in the way here. So get this out of here. Sometimes they're done at 194, sometimes they're done at 200. Just depends on the brisket. So we're going to wrap this thing up in a towel, and we're going to put it in a cooler. So I got to figure out what I've done with my towel to lift this thing off. Alright, here we go. Don't want to burn my fingers too bad. Get this thing off of here. I'll put it in a towel. Now this will carry over another 5 degrees or so of cooking with, and it's in this cooler. We're going to let it rest for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then we'll come back and slice it up and show you what we got. Alright guys, our brisket's been in the cooler for about an hour and 45 minutes, and we can't stand it anymore, so we're going to pull this out. It's had a good rest. Most important part of a brisket, getting a good rest on it. Look at that. Let's see. Oh yeah, I can feel it jiggle. That means it's good. A jiggling brisket's a good brisket. Let's see what we got here. This is like Christmas Day here. Oh yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. Beautiful brisket. Still steaming even after being in there. I'm gonna pick this up, maybe, and I need you to pull that paper out from underneath there, okay? There we go. Got a little piece under there still. Okay, let's see here. Let's get some slices on this thing. Let's see, our grains this way. Let's slice these about the width of a pencil here. Get us up here in the middle. Let's check this out. Oh yeah, you can see how tender that is. Just pulls apart. Let's see. Try that out.
That's good. What about me?
Cameraman, we forgot about you.
Hey.
I gotta have some more of that. Well, 2 thumbs up on that. We're gonna get it inside, finish slicing her up, try this out. Look at that. The old bend test.
Oh yeah.
Look how it pulls apart. No effort at all. Perfect brisket. Not the choice brisket, guys, not a prime. You can make a good brisket with a choice grade brisket. The prime is going to be a little more moist, a little more fat in it, but for the price, 50 bucks difference, I'll take this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Okay guys, I realized I forgot to show you the point there on that video outside, so I'll show it to you now. You can see how all this fat in here is all rendered down. It's all juicy. Oh yeah, that's a good looking point there. We're going to cut this in half. Oh yeah, look at that. Need to get a piece of that here. Piece of this point. It's all good. Yeah, just as good as any of it. So yeah, if you like what you see, I was going to point out this too. Check out the smoke ring on this. They say you can't get a smoke ring on a pellet grill, but that's an awesome smoke ring. Okay, so if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, a like, and share, and we'll see you next time.